Hello, everybody. This is your host, Odd Job Entertainment, and if you're wondering, yes, I do kind of regret shaving it. It was patchy, but it was something. uh, okay, where is the? Oh my gosh! There we go. Okay, pull that down. Let's check audio real quick. I think we're probably okay. Just need to make sure that voice is coming through. Yeah, okay. We're good. We're good. Why is chat not loading? I'm using Restream, and if anyone's saying something, it's not popping up at the moment. Let me try and fix that. Okay. Think we're all right. Cool. So, unfortunately, didn't get a whole lot done on the joystick trigger between this stream and last. Pretty hectic week. Pretty hectic couple of weeks, actually. And logically, my real job has to take precedence, and when I was coming home I was just wiped out. So we are going to keep working on it tonight. Welcome, Mr. Arrow Capital Fellow. Always happy to see you in stream. We're working on our joystick trigger again tonight. If someone ever invented a lens material for glasses that never gets smudgy, I would pay so much money for that. I also think that it'd be cool to just get some LASIK down the road, start saving up for that. Then I wouldn't need glasses. Then I could show you my beautiful baby blues unimpeded. So I wanted to start off today kind of looking at some different technologies for triggers. There's something that I made a while back. Let's see. I know I have it on my... I'm pretty sure I have it on my things. So back when I made this Bullpup 2.0, one of the really cool things that it does is it has a tactile trigger. And unfortunately, this was designed in SolidWorks. I don't have access to it very easily right now. But if I pull up Krita and we do our second screen, and then I pull Krita onto the second screen, I can walk you through part of the design for how that trigger worked. Because I'm thinking about doing something similar with our new stuff here. Nope. Need to I know you guys can't really see what's going on right now. It's moving the main screen. It's not supposed to be doing that. So I need to change that. Okay. I think we're good. So, we're definitely going to need a darker color than that. You guys won't be able to see it. So we have increase opacity. Okay, we're gonna go with that. For a Airsoft M4, you have your pivot point, and then you have your trigger down below here. You have a little physical stop in front. Actually, no, I lied. Now that I'm thinking about it, it goes up like this, and you have kind of a hammer looking thing like that, and then back behind it you have the physical stop, then you have the back side of the trigger. Okay, then you have your torsion spring, which wraps around the pivot, and it has a bend that it goes into a hole right here, and then it has its free arm going forward, so that when you are pulling the trigger, you're resisting the spring, right? What I did for Bullpup 2.0 that was really cool was I incorporated a tactile bump. And the way that I did this was I 3D printed a little catch like this with a thin flexible arm, so that when this stop pushes up, it runs into the catch. And then in order to get farther, you have to keep pressing and pressing until this deflects out of the way. And when that happens, it creates a snappy tactile bump. It's very similar to how the inside of a key switch works. Let's see. Main screen. There we go. Welcome, Draconis. How we doing? So let's see if we can find a good image for how these look. So when you push the switch, there's this little bump right here. Let's see, can I do open image and new tab to make this a little bigger? So you push the switch down, this ledge bumps into the spring, and it has to push it out of the way before the key can keep moving down. You feel that as a little bit of a bump when the key moves. And then with this particular Cherry MX Blue switch, you have a separate sliding section so that you get a little amount of pre-travel before you actually engage the tactile bump. So this blue piece will move down linearly against the spring until these two faces are touching each other, and then it pushes the gray piece down with it as well. Oh, shoot. Is this Morris Direct? I think I remember. Yeah, sometimes your username doesn't pop up right. Once the white piece starts moving down, like I said, it makes contact with the spring, has to push it out of the way, and then you feel that as a bump in the movement. I did the same thing with Bullpup 2.0 as we were talking about with our little trigger diagram here. And I was thinking about this in relation to our joystick mod, and I think it would be really cool to give users the option of having that. So I don't want to commit to it wholesale and force everybody to use it, because when I, even though I really liked it in the bullpup, it wasn't very popular with a lot of the people that did try it. So I want to give the option. I don't want to force people to use it. With that said, this needs to change a little bit to make that happen. We need to give ourselves as much room as possible, or I should rephrase that. I need to be as efficient as possible with the way that I'm using the space I have. Otherwise, we will not have enough room to make everything happen. With that said, I'm going to back up to sketch 8, and let's just really focus on getting a solid foundation for the primary trigger. We'll get that printing, and then we'll start looking at how we can make that happen with the primary trigger. With the secondary trigger, I think we're already taken care of, because it's going to be resting against the button, so you're only going to feel a slight click. It's a little different with the primary trigger because the pressing is going through the spring, and that decreases a lot of the tactile feedback that you would have gotten from the switch. So I want to try and come up with a mechanism to bring that back. So I think actually I'm just gonna get rid of this stuff. It's not helping me. We don't need it. What is this even doing? Oh, okay. I do want to keep that. And I think one of the things that I remembered while taking a pause during the week is this trigger face doesn't need to be vertical. Take a look at it over here. You can see that we had learned that previously. Kicking it out towards the front a little bit gives you a little more space to move your fingers, which is very important because space is very limited. So I'm trying to think of how I want to define that. That'll probably work. Let's see. How much of this arc do I actually need? We know that 1.8 is comfortable from previous iterations. My fingers are 2 centimeters wide. So let's start with 2. We'll try that, see if we want to change that later. Did I miss that point? I guess I did. Let's see. Let's actually do it this way. I'm trying to do a lot of troubleshooting in my mind as we go. So it's making me rethink a lot of stuff in the moment. So I need to account for the movement of these pieces relative to each other. This line is going to move forward relative to the gray piece when the gray piece is pulled back. I can't remember how wide this is. 0.775. Okay, let's extrude by that much. 0.775, there we go. I'm going to bring these in as constructions. Hide that. And then we're going to create a circular pattern from these lines. We only need 2 instances. And here's one of the tricky things about the circular pattern. When it picks an angle, it will allow you to go almost to 0, but then it snaps back to the 180 position. And if it tops out at 180 for 2 patterns, it's not going to let me put it over here. And I actually need to get it over here a little bit. So the way that you do that is you simply click the arrow. Now it's oriented the other way, so it's stopping me going from that direction. So I can pull it back here. And then you want to set your degree like so. And here's the last trick here's the next trick with the circular pattern. It's still blue, telling me that it's undefined, and you can see that it's because this center point didn't stay grounded to what it assumed we were starting from. It assumed correctly, but I just need to drag it back onto that to allow it to make a coincident mate, or constraint, sorry, and now we're okay. So, what this shows us is where this blue piece would be for the second state of our primary trigger. Second state being the depressed position. And you can see there's a little bit of clipping into it, into the blue piece here, but then there's this open gap here. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that the shelf that we make for our finger doesn't impact any of those specific areas. And I'm going to start that by making sure that I build in some tolerance here. And I'll bring in our geometry from before, some of it. Make this tangent. And then I'm going to create an offset of the construction lines that we created. And you can see again, if I click here, it'll jump it to the other side. And I just want to make sure that I'm building in some tolerance here as well. So now I've created this arc that is tangent to the front of our trigger, the back edge of our trigger, and nothing is going to impact the mechanism of our blue piece that we designed previously. So that is the top of our trigger defined. Now we need to figure out what we want to do with the rest of this. And I'm thinking, let's do something like this, honestly. And then we can go from the midpoint of this arc to the center point of our previous arc, and then we can set the new center point to be coincident with that, and that basically makes it so that this is now an offset of the previous arc. And we've only got a little bit of flexibility with these shapes here. I think I'll just make those 2 points the same. And it's not liking something still. Oh, there we go. Just didn't have another bound for that. So we need to make sure we're only allowing it to create the parts that we need. We don't want to be creating this section because that will get clipped anyways. And we set this to a depth or a width of 1.1 or 11 millimeters, 1.1 centimeters or 11 millimeters. That is the width of the hole in the joystick body that we're using. All right, so that is a very basic trigger. If we were to actually use this, it would not be cozy, not feel good. It's too sharp. So we definitely need to add some fillets. Really? And here's the next trick. tangent propagation, you end up using this a lot when you are talking about fillets. Tangent propagation, if I... Let's see. Let's take a look at the older one to show what tangent propagation does. If you imagine the edge that goes all the way from here, tangent propagation is what makes the fillet extend to all those different sections that you see here. If I do tangent propagation here, or if I do a fillet here, by default it's going to have tangent propagation turned on, and with whatever setting I used previously, it's not happy because it's too much. So this is with tangent propagation turned on. If I turn this off, it will only focus on the line that is coincident with the current selection. So it just rounds off that edge. In our case, I don't really care about what the back of the trigger looks like where you're never going to see it, because this will be tucked inside the joystick. So instead, I want to prioritize the edges that do matter, which is the one your fingers are going to touch. And 2 millimeters is a really good start. And I just want to extend that round up a little more. That looks like it'll probably be pretty comfortable. Will it let me do these ones? No. And I'm okay with that. I'm not going to fight it too much there. So that's a much better looking trigger. I know it looks like a lateral move from where we were before. But I feel better about the foundation this gives us. Now, the tricky part is if we bring back sketch 6, we have a whole other trigger that needs to fit inside here. And that's the part that has me really racking my brain quite a bit, trying to think what is the best way to make that happen. I think it's going to come down to quite a bit of trial and error. The reason being, I need it to work around this guy and the front lip of the casing. And those are actually pretty tricky constraints for this version. But I think the way that we start is we go with a front sketch. And we want to set our tolerances from the start so that they're there for us. Let's set this bottom bound. 3.5 looks pretty good. that. Picked up a vertical constraint it doesn't need. I'm going to drag this out so it's not in the way so much. Set the tolerance between those two pieces. And this line just needs to be sure that it's not going to hit our blue piece. And so we'll start at 2 millimeters. And then I want this line to come up to be horizontal with this point, so that everything has roughly the same structural rigidity. Then we can create another offset. And the reason I created this construction line is it will be required for our mirror. But I'm just copying over the lines we just made to the other side. Now we have our rear profile for the secondary trigger. I'm just going to make that quite big. And then I can start designing more elements of this from the side. I'm going to hide our part 3 for now so that I can get a better visual of everything. Oh, that's supposed to be 1.8, not 1.89. Oh, wrong button. Don't like that. I don't know why it jumped so far. That really wasn't needed. Maybe I don't care if those are tangent or not. Starting to feel like I don't. Okay, so this is a fun one. If you want to set a arc length, you do it by clicking the two endpoints of your arc and then the arc itself, and then it lets you set the length that way. So pretty easy to do here. I think I like that shape a little more, so let's go with that. Oh, okay. I see. It's being set by that, so it's not actually carrying. Let's do these then. Yeah, still doesn't like that. So let's do this instead. sure it only does the face we want. And then we also need to account for the movement of this trigger again. So bring this in as a construction. And we're going to do another circular pattern with it. This time it did actually give us the angle we want. And you see, we can't just go tangent to the line because it's going to cause us issues. What we can do is we can make this not a construction line and then actually just use it. Hey, welcome, Geo. Dirty Wolf, how we doing? Guess what? You know how we did all those missions together and we didn't find a single comp board? Guess who now has like 6 of them in inventory waiting to be cashed in? So we're going to get so many components tonight. If you guys don't recognize Dirty Wolf's name, he was one of our first subscribers, actually. But he hasn't been very loyal. He doesn't stick around all that much. And it makes him kind of frustrating as a friend, because I never know if I can rely on him to support my endeavors. But he's always been a good sport about it, at least. So, I mean, if you're going to be a crappy person, you might as well enjoy it. I'm leaving. See? See? The most mild of criticisms, and he's gone. The dirty clan will come when you need us the most. Jeez, that sounds very threatening, actually. I don't know if I want the dirty clan. Sounds like Sounds like a magazine subscription you'd hide from your mom. Yeah, sounds very not PG, right? Mr. Arrow knows. Alright, so for my next trick, we create this weird shape. Alright? And then we bring this back. Okay? We make this a little wider because we remember, oh shoot, the other one's totally different. Okay? Check this out. Boolean, most powerful tool in CAD. Look at that beauty. Simple way to model a very complex shape. Oh, I love it. I use Boolean in so many other things. I don't think I've actually had too much of an opportunity to showcase it with the trigger mods though. So there you go. One of my favorite tools in CAD. And then we can make adjustments to it by going back to this one. And making changes here. For instance, I want to make sure that this is not greater than 1.1. And currently it is. So that's a little bit of a problem. We can fix that by deleting the offset constraint for this line. And we can just override this to be 1.1, like that. And that makes it so that, at the very least, these things have the same width front to back. It's called the combine tool or intersect in the CAD I use. Yeah, all CAD packages will have something like it, but man, I can't overstate how useful Boolean is. You're coming from software. You're coming from SolidWorks, right? Because I think I remember it there. Alright, so now let's break out another one of the cool ones that Onshape has. I think I can use this move. And move it up to... no, it's not going to like that. We can do it this way, though. Nope, actually not. It's making me a liar. Let's see. Okay. I think I know what I think I know what I need to do. Yeah, because you're teaching some kids how to use Onshape, right? Am I remembering that conversation from last week correctly? You don't want to be like the overweight PE teacher. You got to know what you're doing. Mentoring a robotics team where the kids can only use Onshape. They're given SolidWorks, but they can't. What do you mean they're given SolidWorks, but they can't use it? Um, because they don't know how to use it, or yeah, walk me through that. There we go. Now that's a flat face. So now it will play nicely with the extrude tool. Yeah, I think loft is actually going to, or sweep. Yeah, sweep. Okay, so now I'm going to break out Boolean again, and I'm going to do a subtract this time. I'm going to use our paddle as the tool, and then we're going to target that, but we're going to make sure that we check keep tool, and then this part and this part can be safely deleted. Right now they're just hidden, but now they're gone. And now we can combine all of these, uncheck keep tools, and now we have one piece for our secondary trigger. And I think we're almost done with the basic shape. We do still need to give a cutout for this circle here. We need to make sure that our secondary trigger doesn't interfere with that. And we also need to make sure that this foot has something to push against to actually make the secondary trigger do something. So we're going to create another circular pattern. Well, first we're going to create these as entities in this sketch. Then we can circular pattern them. It's a long story, but basically the first robotics competition includes a software bundle for all 150,000 international teams. SolidWorks, ANSYS, and Inventor are included in that bundle, but some years back, somehow all the high school kids across 28 countries were like, let's just use Onshape because it's so beginner friendly. So everyone's models are shared. All the hardware libraries and COTS parts are in Onshape. All right. That one doesn't bother me so much then. That's more a self-imposed restriction, but or it would seem at least. And I think they are right in their assessment. I really like Onshape. It is kind of annoying that they had access to rather expensive paid software that they're not using, just because it seems like that's a lot of financial resources being wasted. And as much as I love Onshape, you're not always going to be using it in a professional setting. So it's still very good to make sure that if you have the educational opportunity, make sure you are learning different software packages as well. I'm very fortunate in that I've been able to learn lots of different softwares, and since I am the first and currently only engineer with the company that I'm at, I basically told them Onshape's good. Let's just use Onshape. We don't have to invest so much into computer hardware, and we can save a bundle that way. So it is still my preferred CAD package, but from an education point, I think there's a lot of value in making sure that you're exposing yourself to all the options that are out there. Well, for example, the team I'm mentoring, I'm their first mentor who is also an engineer. So no one was really around to teach them for the past 10 years other CAD software. Now they have no interest in starting from scratch. Yeah, and that's the tough part, right? Like there's still a lot of value in learning the softwares, but I do understand not wanting to have to learn a whole new package when all you're trying to do is finish a project. But they are kind of, I don't know. I still feel like they'd be missing out. But it's not the end of the world. There'll be other opportunities too, and a lot of the skills do transfer over. So it's not like it's completely foreign. You know, what you learn in Onshape is still going to have a lot of carryover. Okay, but if you see here, this is the point where we said our button is, and look where our secondary foot ended up. That's kind of a problem. I'm trying to learn Onshape, but also playing with Shaper 3D. Yeah, teenagers are the worst. I didn't realize how bad teenagers are until I stopped being one, but oh my gosh, yeah. Forest for the trees, man. Shaper 3D. I don't think I haven't used this one. I think I have seen this one, though. All the stuff that they're advertising here just is not... I mean, all of this is something that Onshape does as well. Maybe not the native Vision Pro experience. And that seems to be what I remember from other videos too. Is it's kind of a blend between what is that, vector-based modeling and parametric modeling. Vector-based modeling, really good for aesthetic stuff. I'm not good at it, so I don't do it. Parametric modeling, very good for physical objects. I was introduced to Shaper 3D because of iPad support. I have not tried Onshape on the iPad Pro. Yeah, so drawing star citizenships would be excessively difficult in Onshape, for example, compared to an artistic modeling package. I think I'm picking up a note of sarcasm there, Mr. Arrow Capital Fellow. Can't say I appreciate your tone, sir. You're not wrong, unfortunately. Part of the purpose of the video series is to show that it can be done. But it's probably not the best way to do it. So in theory, if I set this to be coincident with this line, actually, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do this instead. I want to create a little nub like that. And then I want that to be coincident. And then I'm going to give it a midline so that I can do an easy revolve later. But in theory, as long as I have something touching the button, it should be minimal travel distance. So now I bring that in and I do our circular pattern. Do only 2 of these. Set it to 10 degrees. And then we're much better set up to have this be workable. Going to make that section of the line solid. And then I'm just going to give a nice chunky tolerance there. Make these concentric. And then I need to make sure that I avoid this box here. Try drawing a cat playing a piano in a parametric modeling software package. You'll quickly understand why I literally spent an entire afternoon trying to make a custom keychain print for my daughter and wound up throwing in the towel and purchased an STL. Well, I can't say I did a cat playing a piano. I did do a dragon bracelet. There we go. Let's see. This was designed in parametric software. It's not very good, but it was done for a competition and I gave myself very little time to get it done. I don't actually need to have that start there. I can have it start here. There are also good reasons for doing the constellation in parametric software, by the way. If I actually ever finish it, we're trying to build in a bunch of play features, play features for the adult children that will have it as a display piece in their room somewhere. And for all those kinds of things, like electronics, lights and sounds, and all that jazz, it makes a lot of sense to do it in parametric software where you can easily bring those components in. There's probably a lot of value in a hybridized approach, but that would require me to learn more software than I want to, and I'm being very stubborn. I recognize that it's stubbornness, which means that I'm not totally insane, because at least I recognize my folly. Nope, nope, okay. There we go. Let's have that start there, I suppose. Alright, so this foot should work. Why do we have an error here? Oh, that's fine. It's because I deleted a previous reference. Let's do that. And I want to pull these up above the Boolean, which it looks like it has allowed me to do without any issues. I'm going to add that to this piece, and boom, there you go. Now those are all part of the same piece. So let's do hide all sketches. Hide all planes. Hide all sketches. There we go. Let's only show sketch 13. And then we're going to do a remove. I think that much. We're going to apply it to that piece. We're going to do Shift W to do our revolve. Create a little nub to press the button. And I'm going to use a Boolean once more to do a subtract with the primary trigger to the secondary trigger. You can do keep tools again, but then if we do offset, offset all, and 0.1 millimeter, you can see if I hide part 2 what that's done. It's cut out all the sections where there was a potential intersection, or a potential collision, I should say. All right. So now let's hide all sketches again. And then for this, I know I can definitely do move face. And I think if I do, yes. All right, so it actually does it symmetrically. So we can just do that. And in concept, this should be a functional trigger group. The parts that remain to be tested, we need to make sure that the angles all make sense. I've set everything to 10, as you saw. That's probably not exactly right, but this version of the trigger will give me enough information that I can figure that out. So let's send this to the printer, and I need to actually send it to the printer on screen or I'll forget to do it. But hopefully by the end of tonight or next time we will be able to actually try these out. Okay, so here we are in Orca Slicer. All we need to do is save that. And then we can open this with G2Box. Gonna skip that. Then we click Orient. And I don't technically need this to be printed again, but if it is a successful combination, I will need to have two of them to put onto my reel sticks. So I'm going to go ahead and print one, and then I'm going to print two of these ones. I'm really hopeful that they might just work, and so we're just going to put that out there into the universe. These are going to work. They're going to be okay. And if they do, then we're done. And it blows me away how much faster G2Box has become. When I tell you that this used to be a laborious process of slicing models, it's really no exaggeration. G2Box really made their software much, much better. I still think it's absurdly overpriced for the paid version of the software, but that's not what I have. I use the free stuff, and there's workarounds to get all the features that I would like from the paid software, and it's just become really good at the things that I actually need it for, which is very nice to say. So while that's loading, let's pull up another assembly so that we can show how to quickly do that. Onshape added a new type of mate that I am a really big fan of. At least I say they added it. I don't know if it was there before and I just missed it. But they have a width mate. This is very. I use this all the time in SolidWorks, but I just never found it in Onshape before, so I really feel like it's new. I printed some of the joysticks you designed on the new version, and the supports are a lot nicer to work with. Also, yes, supports much better in the new software too. I dropped an example of an artistic model I've made in a parametric modeler into Discord. I pulled a bunch of hair out trying to draw fire in Inventor. I think it just sounds like a skill issue, if you ask me, but okay. Oh, see, this I wish there was a more intuitive way to do this kind of thing. I'm trying to get this mate connector to be oriented the way that I want it to. So, whatever. It's not really that important. Let's just do the width mates. So the width you set by picking your first set of bounds, and then you pick your second set of bounds, and then it basically it just lines them up so that they are parallel but equally spaced between each other. So, big fan of that one. I really like it. And then when you combine a width and a cylindrical mate, you can make things rotate as a unit, or rotate with the right spacing relative to each other. Nope. You do need to make sure that you click into the other dialog box, though. That's the only caveat. There. Woo. So now these are all mated together. If I make this transparent, we can get a little better idea of how they move. So this guy is allowed to rotate 10 degrees, and then when it hits that 10-degree mark, it makes contact with the front face of this piece, and then it pushes the two of them into the secondary button. So you get a little bit of movement right there with them both together. But until that point, they move separately. So we're not trying to keep them linked with this version of the trigger mod. And my hope is that that will make it so that you get a better tactile response from both switches. And hopefully we will be able to play with adding some extra tactile bumps into the primary trigger. Alright, thanks for hanging out, Morris. This piece we already know works pretty well. It looks like a chicken head. Okay, you don't need to be rude, okay? I didn't need that. It does look like a chicken head. See, you can do artistic stuff in parametric software. We made a chicken. Okay, so that's modeling for tonight. That's printing. Hopefully it's successful. We close that, and then we come down to the taskbar and actually close it, because there's not a way to set Qi2 Manager to close by default. If they would change that, I'd be a very happy camper. Hey Schlar, welcome to chat. How you doing? Now we got to put our gamer glove on. Oh, you know what? Actually, I forgot. There is actually Star Citizen content to watch. Let's get into that first. Yes, CIG uploaded a Inside Star Citizen that I'm actually kind of excited to check out. I'm really excited for the engineering content, but I feel biased saying that. I mean, I'm really excited for the engineering content, and I don't care that I say that I feel biased. I think it's going to be really cool. I think it's going to really shake up the meta and hopefully make it so that there's no more solo Idrises flying around, because that's dumb. Typical for when a plane is scheduled to fly in a week. Oh, so I bet you guys are probably really busy getting it so that the plane will get off the ground, right? Makes sense.
So we've been talking about engineering in one way or another for several years now.
Yes,
whether
we
that's
have.
ISC.
I am really looking forward.
Okay. Sound coming through? Quick poll in chat. Let me know. Did you hear Thorsten say, I'm really excited? Okay. We're good. OBS didn't screw me this time.
To see what you all will be doing with it.
Or SCL for several years now. Whether that's ISC.
I am really looking forward to see what you all will be doing with it.
I'm not convinced that Thorsten gets excited about anything. That is like the most bland, like, yes, I'm really excited to see what you do with it. Maybe he's just not a camera guy, but try to sound a little excited, bud. Come on.
Or SCL.
Is engineered this absolutely enormous behemoth thing that's going to ruin everybody's experience?
If you're into that, yes.
Or even 2 different CitizenCon presentations.
We already talked about it several times, but wait, there's one more thing.
When I was dressed up as a late-night television host vampire and dumping sand throughout the
man.
LA office without permission.
Don't ever do this again. They're begging me not to continue. But we will show them. Count Disco does not know how to listen.
Yes, it was a different time.
We've
But
done
over the
so
years, the
many
systems have
cringy
continued
videos.
to evolve, and now, after
Holy.
7 videos, several Arena Commander and tech preview tests, and the current PTU cycle underway now, we've never been closer to bringing the next evolution of spaceflight to life ahead of our intended release later this month. So rather than go through every detail once again of what you're already experiencing on the PTU now, I sat down with Torsten for this short discussion
I
of
do
what
want to
I'm
do that,
calling
the flaming Pico.
Inside Star Citizen, Talking with Torsten, the 8th show about engineering before it's been released. And that's why we didn't do another CitizenCon thing this year. All right, we can probably shorten it to just Talking with Torsten. Yeah.
So, right off the bat, it's been a year since we did that last ISC on
All right, what do we think? Count Disco hair or this hair? What do we like better? I think it's 50-50.
engineering. What's the same? What's changed?
We didn't change a lot. What did change is the main direction of the feature itself.
Just the main direction.
Just change is
Is that Cowboy Bebop? I feel like that character is. That looks like Cowboy Bebop. It's probably several different animes, right? Or no, this is One Piece, isn't it?
the main direction of the feature itself.
Just the main direction.
Just the main direction. Technically, everything that you had in the Arena Commander, everything that we talked about still stands true. So everything that we discussed, all the intentions we had,
Yeah, we both
still
shaved
stands
our
true.
chin hair.
We had before.
I bet we both
like, the
regret it
direction
too.
Of things have to happen. You have to be on your toes. You have to be very reactive to everything that is happening. We noticed that this is not particularly fun. So
Just giving people something to do is not enough.
giving people something to do can be really fun, but it pulls too much attention to these rather than of the gameplay that you should experience.
Warning, fire detected.
So the direction that we got was, and we are now acting on, is that engineering gameplay is there to extend the lifetime of the ships rather than making your life miserable on a ship.
Well, thank you for the encouragement,
nice change.
Arrow.
I think it might be worth it.
I feel very
Let's
baby-faced right
refresh
now.
ourselves on the basics of how it works for people who haven't gone back and watched the 7 previous videos. The first thing is preemptive or preventative stuff, the stuff that happens before things happen. Tell me how you use engineering to prepare your ship.
One of the main things right now that you have to do, or you should do, is prepare for travels. So you should buy fuses ahead of time so that you can replace them once they break on the ship. You should buy enough filled RMC canisters so that you are able to repair the components on site. So this is like the prep work, the first, hopefully, 5 minutes, if we can make something work.
He's trying to get vendors added to the spaceports so
Yes.
that you don't have to run around. We'll see if we end up with that or not. I'll say it, you don't have to say it. Continue.
For bigger ships that allow.
Okay, so I've talked about this before, but I think you should have a lot more direct access to things from your spaceport, right? Like, I can pull up my phone and order anything I want off of Amazon. Why do I need to go into the city proper to pick up a part when I'm at a spaceport that probably has a repair center as part of their facilities?
Components to be swapped out in fight or in your travels. You can also prepare by buying components and then storing them on the ship so that you can replace them.
So first part of engineering resource network is preparation. In the single seat ships, the fighters and stuff, does this still affect their day-to-day life?
No. So yes, but no. so engineering gameplay affects everything. What engineering gameplay does there is that it extends the lifetime. So imagine you are on your single-seater fighter, you're not doing too well, and you barely survive. Now you can use the MFD to repair the components that allow you to travel back home. So this is the extension of the lifetime of the ship that you invested time in.
And so then for ships with interiors up to the bigger multi-crew ships,
Yes.
the next big change with engineering is a damage to your components.
So on the ships with interior, you will have access to the components. By having access to the components, there's the chance for you to repair on-site or repair while they are taking damage. Normally, you would die in the game that is like at 4.4, but with engineering gameplay, you would be able then to point the repair gun at the component, bring it back from 0 health to full health, so you get your power plant back, or you extinguish the fire, repair afterwards, and then you're ready to go. And that scales now with the amount of people that you can fit on your ship. So yes, the next chapter of engineering is repairing and exchanging of components and potentially exchanging fuses.
And it's not just managing the components, it's managing the relays. How do the relays work?
They changed a little. So if you recall in the early...
So I know with what we've seen so far, I can picture a lot of people saying or giving complaints about this being Beam Citizen again. I don't really care about the beams. It's like, okay, you could give your character a drill, and most games would have you just like stab something with a drill, right? Most games you're not going to be like, okay, what do I need? I need a M4 corresponding hex bit. Okay, put that in, and then drill it out. Like, you're not going to do that in other games, right? They'll give you a drill, but you just do you wave it around randomly, and then boom, components fixed. Beams are doing basically the same thing. And so I don't really mind that. I think the fuses also come into play a role where it's like you can repair a component, but then you still need to replace the fuse, so that's some interactability. But I also think that that's a good example of what it would be like if you didn't have beams doing more, is you'd have to deal with more of those clunky interfaces where you have to watch your character do this full animation of pull out the fuse and then slot it in. And so I think I prefer beams over that.
Tech preview and even the early arena commander mode, relays were the weak point of any ship. We thought back in the day that this is a really, really good idea, and to a degree it would be. But with ships where some relays are placed in a very accessible position for getting shot at some point there will be the expert players that will just target those, and you will be rendered useless within a blink of an eye, which disagrees with the statement of we have to bump up the TTK here. So relays and fuses are still relevant, but if a relay does not hold any fuses anymore, basically the ship cannot support the full amount of power that the power plant would allow you to have. It makes sense to repair or restock the fuses.
But it's not going to stop your cold. It's not going to prevent doors from opening anymore. No. If you don't effectively address the needs of your components and everything, it can now generate a new hazard for the interiors of spaceships: fire.
Warning, fire detected.
Okay.
So fire can happen in several ways in our game. So one aspect is exterior induced damage to your ship.
So relays now no longer directly inhibit the function of a component or section of the ship. If they're not replaced, they can cause fires. I mean, I guess in my head I just need to say that that's an electrical fire, and then it makes sense. I guess I'm a little disappointed. Well, you get less power from the power plant, but they did just say that it can also create fires. So it's both. You get less power from the power plant, but it's not going to make it so that you can't like access certain parts of the ship. They just said it, dude. They just said that if you
can cause a fire. Components will trigger fire based on hits from bullets. So energy weapons are right now the most effective one in setting interiors on fire if they hit the components on the interior.
Okay, maybe I misunderstood.
Interiors is needs of your if you don't effectively address the needs of your components and everything, it can now generate a new hazard for the interiors of spaceships: fire.
Okay, I guess they weren't talking about relays specifically.
So fire can happen in several ways in our game. So one aspect is exterior-induced damage to your ship that can cause a fire. Components will trigger fire based on hits from bullets. So energy weapons are right now the most effective one in setting interiors on fire if they hit the components on the interior. Versus ballistics, they have a very small chance of igniting the components. And the next big thing is mismanagement of your ship. So if you make your ship run too hot, so if you, for example, think you don't need the full power on your coolers, that means that all the other components start to overheat. We have a system in place that basically has the auto shut off of some of the components, but sometimes that might not be enough. So the temperature rises so high that the component itself incinerates, and then you have
the fire does look so well done. I don't know how I feel about the bullets flying through the ship.
The third type is malfunctions.
That looks kind of
These are induced
janky
by the wear and tear. So the higher the wear and tear of the component, the higher the chances is in different stages that they can trigger an ignition.
You've repaired it a few times, but you haven't replaced it.
Correct, yes.
And in dealing with fire, how do you deal with fire?
So you have the extinguisher that we now place in every ship, which is the active counter to that. The more fire extinguisher point to the same fire, so they're much quicker. That's the most straightforward way. The next way is venting the ship. And for the release, the way that you will be able to do that is by daisy chaining doors. So what you have to do, basically open the door next to the next door, so that you at some point reach a door that leads to the exterior
and vent the atmosphere.
And vent the atmosphere out.
Sounds like when you're the second player playing Gyromite back in the day.
Okay.
So yeah, preparing with replacement components and fuses if you have interiors, repairing those components and replacing those fuses if they take damage, and then dealing with fires. That's essentially the engineering loop that's on its way in 4 or 5. We've recently been in tech preview testing. How's that been going?
The feedback that we received is helped us a lot. It helped us also to make some points in some of the changes that we have been seeing now between the different tech previews, which is really good because it brings the gameplay to exactly what we want to have, which is extending lifetime of ships and not being an annoyance, a constant annoyance. One thing that had to come with the engineering gameplay is a full rebalance. So a full rebalance of all weapons, of all ship components, of like basically how our character, the ship, functions in the game. I think we are approaching right now a good baseline for the release. So I'm hoping that we get some more testing in, because the longer we have the tech preview running, the more we see what needs still to be updated. So
now, at the time that this airs, because we're recording this rather early in November, we'll be on PTU. We'll be on PTU with full-blown testing for an intended December release, which is really exciting. Ending the year with a new star system wasn't quite enough. We want to end the year with this gameplay system. It's going to fundamentally change every spaceship in the game that we've been talking about for 5 years at this point. As far as every ship, we say it will affect every ship, but not every ship equally at the time of this release. My understanding is there's about 80 ships at the point of 4.5 release that have everything. There's about 30 ships in
That's
various
still so many
states
ships.
of conversion.
Holy cow.
Some have engineering screens but don't have physicalized components. Some have physicalized components but don't have engineering screens. Through all of it, you'll be able to use engineering in one way or another. Last thing you want to say to folks as they're testing it in PTU now and they see this ahead of its intended release before the end of December.
Yeah, so I definitely need to shout out like the people that have been sticking around with me and with everyone involved in that feature. It's a huge group, but the core people that really deserve a lot of like praise are Guillermo, and Scott. Those are my key personnel that without them we wouldn't be here. So with that out of the way, the feature is made to stay. This is Star Citizen. This is the definition of Star Citizen. This is what we always wanted, and finally we have it.
It's where we've been talking about going for the last 5 years, yeah.
It doesn't mean, though, that what you see right now is set in stone. So we appreciate all the feedback that we receive. We are aware that we don't deliver something that is perfect right away. So we need your help, as always, to point out the things where we can still improve. We are not done yet with engineering gameplay. There are still things that we have on the list. And we are consciously holding back those ideas right now because we think we already gave a lot and we are a bit scared of overwhelming the players a bit. And now we want to observe you playing that and basically figuring out what still needs to be added or even what we need to adjust.
Well, that's Torsten Lyman on engineering, available on PTU right now. If you haven't jumped in and given it a try, do so. And yeah, as we head towards our December release for 4.5.
Oh, and as a coda, since we recorded this, we've also decided to add armor into this release as well. So keep a lookout for the upcoming engineering guide that'll go out with the release of 4.5 to learn more. Thanks for watching.
Armor
See you all
is
again next year.
it's pretty big. This is not the final version of armor, but it is a proxy for what will come. Essentially, it's going to be a skill check for the DPS of your ship. If you don't have big enough weapons, you're not going to be damaging larger ships. So, very, very interesting stuff. I'm excited to see it. I really don't think I'm planning on doing PTU tonight. I want to actually get into the warehouse vault in these missions that we've been trying out. I'm getting a lot better at soloing them, so we're going to hop in and do that. While this is loading, I'm going to take a bio break. Alright, cool. Looks like no one's online. That's kind of a bummer. I'll have to catch that on the VOD. Bedtime for me. GG's. Well, thanks for hanging out, Mr. Aero Capital Fellow. Always a pleasure seeing your name in chat. Still loading. There we go. See, I'm also going to throw myself into a Discord chat channel in case anyone wants to join. Pisces is still alive. That's kind of cool. Except I'm not going to be using that one. Just going to spawn it again. So, for soloing these missions, a big part of the gameplay comes down to managing your spawn point. So right now I've just set it here at the Terra Gateway. And I've done that so that if I do die during the first part of fighting the Vandul, I don't get sent all the way back to Area 18.
Welcome to the ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
Next thing we need to do is we need to call up a ship. I've been having pretty good success with the Gladius.
Has been set. Thank you. Please visit us.
So I'll get that calling in. Let's fill our tank with some water. I think I went the wrong way. Need to go over here. Getting a little bit of stuttering. That's probably just this location. It'll probably get better when I get away from here. Oh, that was weird. Went through a section of the station that had no atmosphere, I guess. We'll just rapidly inhale a burrito. Nothing abnormal about that.
Good choice.
Sure, let's go 3 for 3. Oh, I guess technically I didn't eat the other one.
Okay, let's get that going for me. Done and done.
Alright, that's probably enough time for the ship to be available for us.
Welcome to the ASOP vehicle selected. Stamp, your vehicle has been delivered. Please visit us again.
Ain't that a beaut? The Gladius is honestly just such a good-looking ship. And there's a lot of really cool ships in the game now. It's cool to see that this one still holds up very well in my mind.
Glad you signed back up for another mission. The Shadow Blade have been continuing their operations, so the Navy wants to keep their data as current as possible. Head back to the storage site, decrypt the data, and upload it again. Just be ready to encounter hostiles, human and otherwise. Dismiss. You are clear to launch.
So I've got triple repeaters on this one. I mean, it's just the way to go, right? Higher consistent DPS, but there's a lot of bad guys that you have to take on. So you don't want to run out on your ballistics.
Thank you, and please visit again.
Need to get a skin on this thing. Like, the Valiant skin is all right, but I think it looks better in some of the other ones. Surprisingly, though, the Gladius does not have as many skins as you'd think for being one of the hero ships for Squadron 42. And, you know, being the first one to get gold standard pass on every new feature, you'd think, why don't they just dump more skins out for it? But it's kind of limited. Passing our previous ship right there. They've said that there are over 300 of these QV logistics stations. Instead of having proper instancing, this is how they're getting around that for the time being. Just have a smorgasbord of, or just a cornucopia of options to send players to. And I have not run into other players organically at any of these locations, so it is at least working in that aspect. I think proper instancing, though, is going to really unleash the reins on what they can do with mission content.
Really got it out for these Shadow Blade. Fight your way through, and then collect the data for decryption.
Okay, so that guy's down there. I want to position myself on the other side of this rock. because there's pretty good chance that I can get him to crash into it. Okay, that's one of them down. This guy's gonna smack. Yep. This one's gonna die. Yeah, that's right. Lower your shields. Alright. So there you go. That's the easy way to do it. I thought I just got extremely lucky last time around. Nah. These Van Duel aren't too bright.
Landing space assigned. Proceed to designated area.
Okay. It is over here.
Landing complete.
Okay, so that's our first encounter done. Super easy, no stress. For my next trick,
Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System.
I'm going to issue claims on the other ships that they'll want to use.
Your insurance claim has been sent.
Go ahead and just pay that right now. We'll more than make it back. I'm not worried.
Your vehicle has been moved to
Go
us
ahead and
for
store the Gladius. And then we just gotta chill for a minute. While we're waiting, here's one of the things that kind of frustrates me about this mission. All your MG script end up here, which means I have to transport them myself later. It's kind of annoying. But we have gotten some all-right components already. We've got our Testudo armor. Here's a real cool thing, though. During one of the previous missions, I was able to get myself one of these. And this one is 66% complete. I need the last server that's in the auxiliary station, and then I'll be able to get into the warehouse. Vandal Tech Data Mission is so addicting. It's interesting and fun to find the random decent loot, plus the multi-step mission is nice to have beyond the other more one-dimensional missions. Yes! Yeah, I mean, this has a little bit of everything. You've got ship-to-ship combat, if you don't just use the asteroid. You've got FPS combat. You've got all the mechanics to work through. It's a really cool mission. I've been having a lot of fun. The payout is insane, too. Like, if you really take advantage of everything that's here, you can walk away with millions.
Your vehicle has been delivered to the following location. Please visit us again.
But I got really lucky. I guess it was last night, playing with another guy. We were just finding tons of these comp boards. So I brought one along with me for this mission. But now, I don't want to send myself back to the Terra Gateway every time. So, with this ship, we give ourselves 2 respawns, and then we do some insurance fraud to get more. Whew. I almost clipped that little antenna there. That could have been bad. Angle my ship to slow down a little bit. Huh. Someone brought a cutter here?
Landing gear deployed.
Don't know what that's about.
Engines offline.
So now we are set up for more predictable success. We've got 2 respawns before we have to respawn the ship. There are a lot of NPCs, so you do want to try to mitigate your risk as much as you can. Peek again, come on. That guy almost got the drop on me. Yeah, these guys are relentless with their aim. They are very good. Got to be very twitchy to get the first shot off. Or, you know, use geometry to your advantage. Like that guy, I could see his legs, which means I can kill him, but he couldn't see me.
Go ahead.
But I like to use this spot to kind of clear out the guys on the lower level. You can get most of them to come to you this way. Then you can start working your way up and be a little safer.
I'll keep them occupied.
Okay, it's not letting me get the shot off on him. Oh, come on. Peek again. There we go. Reload. I think he missed his throw there. Okay, now we can start moving up. There's always guys over here. Geometry kind of screwing me over a little there. And guy I was playing with last night told me that there is a invisible stat that if you keep taking damage, this stat goes up and increases the likelihood that you take on an injury. I don't know if that's true. It seems to make sense. I just never heard that before. But there is a clinic that you can use on this top level. So let's go reset that stat if it does exist. And it'll also pull my drug level down a little bit. And then I want to check these because they might have refills for my med gun, which I will probably need by the end of this. I think I'm ready to start working my way to the other side. I've started coming this way. It's the long way compared to taking the banner across, but I feel like it is safer overall because you get better vantage points on the enemies and you can take them out before they have a chance to shoot at you. Tofia de Games. Well, we have a Discord. you can always join the Discord, and if we become friends, you can join a game session that way. It's pretty easy to be able to get into my streams. Small streamer, so I'm always looking for people to play with. Yeah, you can shoot through these things. And it doesn't seem like they can, so you definitely want to take advantage of that. Okay, so the other one's here then. Alright. Oh, cool. We have more cards spawning this mission. So even if I didn't have the one that I brought with me, we would still be able to get our warehouse loot. No, I can't believe it. That's wild. Okay, so once you hit that switch, it does spawn a bunch of guys in the room below. I've had the best luck approaching from this side. Because you can just kind of pie around the corners. There we go. No one else? Okay, kind of jumping around all over the place.
That's one more data packet. Shouldn't be too many more left for you to find.
Okay, we are juiced on ammo. We've got plenty. This is the part that makes me a little nervous because I don't know for sure if they spawn in this room after you kill that guy. But I feel a little exposed doing this step. There we go. There's data packet 1 done. Still getting some stuttering with the frames a little bit. That doesn't look like a skinned one, right? I've heard there is a white pulverizer, so I'm keeping my eye out for that. I don't know, maybe this is white. Nah, that's rusty. Alright, so here's another little tip for you. These cards always end up in your backpack when you scan them. So if you simply split them up into your different armor pieces, you can do some organization that way. And so I know that this is the new one. This is the one that needs to be plopped in here. There we go. I know this one is my 66%. These two now both have 33%. So now I like to do Cargo Deck A because I feel like that's the hardest. Kind of get that one out of the way, right? You have a very limited window to get yourself a good angle. Okay, that guy's going to start working his way around. I think there's one more over there. There we go. He got me. He got me with the injury. Okay, this is the spawn closet where they respawn. And it seems to be triggered by you going over to the location where the boss is. So you want to play that part a little slower. There we go. And you just want to use the sneaky angles. Yep, that's right. 2 turrets, I forgot.
This ain't gonna end well.
Why is it fighting me? Come on. Okay. That guy's noticed me.
I'll cover you. Gift for you.
Okay. Good for him. Good nade. Yeah, Tofia, you can join our Discord server. I'm not accepting random friend requests. I appreciate the hustle. See, they haven't spawned yet. Okay, there's one more. Oh, it's the guy I didn't get before, right? Where is this guy? Okay, I'm checking these spawns down here. Yeah, nope. They're still out. There's one more guy somewhere. Not sure where he's at, though. And that makes him particularly annoying. Alright, let's take the alternate path over here then.
That's another encrypted data packet. Keep going and find the rest.
Okay, and then I immediately want to jump down here quick as we can. Because we want to get these guys before they can take up positions. still that guy somewhere up there. Not sure where he's at. I do need to find him and take him out because he's gonna screw with my cargo loading. Guess he works for the ATF. Alright, maybe I'm not so concerned about picking up every single one that spawns. Comp boards seem to be fixed now. They're spawning plenty. I think this guy gets to live just because I can't find him. These are the real loot. It's all about these bodies. Though you can only pick up the ones that actually have a body in them. The rest are just set dressing. And this room seems to only give 3. Let's see. There's usually a box around here. Not really interested in the Testudo Turf War set because I already have a full set. Good on med pens for now. Chest wounds. Okay, that's A done. Now we head to B. So sometimes guys will spawn coming down the stairs right over here. They have a pretty good angle on you if you're not aware of them. I'm not hearing anybody, so it's possible that they haven't respawned in this room, at least. I want to go fix my chest wound. Okay. There's a guy down here somewhere. I'm going to ignore him though, and just head to B. I like to just get the decryptions done at the end. Even if you die, you don't lose the data. You just need to get back to a key or loot one off your previous body. So I like to just do them all at once. That way I mitigate my risk and I don't expose myself unnecessarily. Okay, those guys. I think that's this side cleared. There's usually a guy in this room back here. Let's keep an eye out for him. There's another spawn for the comp boards. So if you haven't found one by now, there you go. Just gotta click heads. There's usually some guys over here, so keep an eye out for those. It's probably around this crate. Maybe not. Someone's missing. Still need at least the boss. Oh, little sneaky guy, aren't you?
Ah, there we go. I'm seeing dates, credits, transfer codes. This is good. We're gonna need more. According to this, there should be additional encrypted data packets around your site.
Okay.
Your new objective will be to gather all of the data along with an encryption key. I guess they made for one-time use for security, but I imagine another high-ranking member of the organization should be carrying one. You are authorized to use lethal force to secure the data and the decryption key. So, roll out and search the rest of this facility, along with the ship and the neighboring base.
I'm not hiding. Coming right for you. Okay, think we're good. Ooh, we got a shield this time. What is this? Sure stop? It's not bad. So every 5 of these is worth, I think it's 600 or 700k. Definitely worth picking them up. That's the 4 that this room gives us. I don't like to have empties creeping into my inventory, so I just shoot the last bullets. Keep my inventory somewhat clean that way. I guess we'll do a loot lap. See if there's anything cool I missed. But kind of doubt it. It's mostly just the turf war stuff. It's not lootable. And in one of these, there's like a secret room you can get to where there's like bunch of candles. I don't know if it's in A or B, but Foxy Loxy shows it in one of his videos. Okay, I don't have that set. We've done really good so far. No deaths. Our next location we need to get to is the hangar. I can hear guys talking here. Just gonna run past. Not gonna worry about them yet. And we go to pad 3. This is where the Polaris spawns, or is docked. And it's also where our next server is for our comp boards. And we can talk a little bit of strategy optimization. There are 2 floors to the Polaris that you care about. You don't actually need to clear the bottom floor if all you care about is the comp board and the key card, because those are both in the top floor, if my memory is serving me correctly. But they do pack a lot of NPCs into this ship. And here's something kind of curious. There's kind of like a parallax effect with this skin. It's not like stuck to the ship properly. And once you see what I'm talking about, you won't be able to unsee it. And it'll bug you every time you fly over this thing. This is, in my opinion, the worst part of the mission because of the alarm. It's constant. It doesn't stop. Sometimes you can get one of the guys in here. Doesn't look like we're lucky this time. Those guys were doing a really good job guarding nothing. Most of the time, it is not closed off like this. When it is, though, it makes it a little extra challenging. I'd really love to get a refill now, but the game is like, screw you. Guess we're going to be using med pens. Okay, so you can shoot this door open, and the boss is in that room. I recommend taking the long route, though, because there is just a ton of guys. You want to play it safe. There's oftentimes the guy down here. Stairs are screwing with my aim. Sometimes there's good components back here, but you will take radiation damage from the gravity core being all screwed up. Alright, we're going heavy on the drugs now. We're using med pens. So there's the boss. I just remembered we have med beds on the ship, and for this kind of stuff, they still work.
I'll spend all day hunting you down if I have to. Hide all you want. Thought you wanted this fight.
Okay, that echolocation is not working for me right now. Made me think that guy was a lot closer than he was.
This ain't gonna end.
I need to clear out this room because the server I need is in there. No, it's actually down. Nope, it's right there. That's what I need.
This fight.
It's right there. So I don't need to loot the decryption key. I already have keys.
Transfer codes. This is good. We're gonna need more. According to this, there should be additional encrypted data packets around your site. Your new objective will be to gather all of the data, along with a decryption key. Guess they made the one-time use for security. And I imagine another high-ranking member of the organization should be carrying one. You are authorized to use lethal force to secure the data and the decryption key. So, roll out and search the rest of this facility, along with the ship and the neighboring base.
Yep, you already said that.
Did they fall into a jump pot?
Okay, there are guys in the room below me. That's probably what I'm hearing as well. Because we're not seeing anyone here.
Where'd you...
And they don't come up the elevators. That part's kind of good. And that one, I guess. You guys spawning in here sometimes. There are guys on the other side of the wall over here.
I'm gonna hurt you for so long, you're gonna think it's a career.
My inventory isn't bugged now, is it? Shoot, that's not good. Oh, man. Let's see. The problem is, if my inventory's bugged, I won't be able to interact with any of the other things I need to do. Just trying to see what these ones are. Yeah. I don't care about any of those ones. I might Alt F4 to try and reset inventory. That might fix it. Before I do that, though, I want to make sure I put myself in a somewhat safe location. So I should be good in here. We need this to work, otherwise the mission is just died. Because of various bugs, I've had significantly fewer completions than I would like. But this one was going really good, so I'm really bummed that it happened like that just now. I really hope that this works to fix it. Fingers crossed, guys. I'm always reminded of that quote from Modern Warfare 2. The more things change, the more they stay the same. That seems to apply. What? Never seen that one before. The good thing about this mission is even if it does fail, you still get the bodies, and those are pretty valuable. So even when the mission breaks, you can still get away with something. But right now we're talking like a fifth of what you can make in total. So I'd really prefer for the mission to work as intended. I know that's not exactly a novel concept, games working the way they're advertised, but here we are. I will give them credit. Star Citizen has a lot more to do this year, and it has played better for me than any year previous. So they are making pretty significant progress. But if you like the content you're seeing, be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe so that you don't miss future content like this. We stream every Friday, 8 p.m. MST. And our channel members get a special mention in each and every stream we do. Orbital Bombardiers and up, that is. Thank you, John Best and The Prime. Your financial contributions directly help you make more content like this. Okay. Let's take a look at the issue council. I wonder if we were experiencing a server error. I don't know though. Holy cow. Okay, that's me. Did all these people come here within just a few minutes? Let's check this one. Character repair doesn't seem to work. I guess we might be done. Let's check this one. Is it the same guy linking? It is. crap. This is a... Oh, this is exactly what I did. I might have ruined it for myself. Yeah, that hasn't loaded. Well, good thing the PTU's coming out. I guess we'll be able to do that. But I think for tonight, we're probably going to call it here. Thanks, CIG. Game's broken. Hopefully, we'll be able to play the PTU, though. But if you like what you see, like, share, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube things.